This feel like a commercial. I mean, I know it's all ass. It looks good. IGN doing it. Man, show us the PS5. I kind of already knew how it looked, but all this BS. Oh, after this, I want y'all to. I'm gonna show Xbox. Just for fun. It's yeah, the PS5 is black and white. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you mean different colors? Okay, see, I didn't know that. Yeah, maybe it'll come out. It'll come out probably in different colors. If it comes out in purple and black, I'm grabbing that. I'm grabbing that. Somebody said it looked like a trash can, but we're gonna go to it after this. Hey, there it goes. At my favorite console. Look at that bad boy. Oh, wow. Look at that. You ain't never failed me. Look at that design. Look at that. Yes. Come on, PlayStation. Don't be playing around with me like this. I can't even put my hands on it yet. Like, come on. I feel it's right there. Oh, look at the controller. I'm pleased. I'm pleased with that. I don't care if nobody else ain't, but I'm pleased with that. I like it. I like it. Like, that even looks good. The blue, I didn't know it looked that good. Hold up. Oh, they're just sitting here teasing right now. Hold on. They're sitting here teasing. There's no edition. Oh, there's two things? Look, I'm good with just the first one. It don't even matter. What else? BlueSense wireless controller. Okay. BlueSense charging station. Okay. HD camera. Pulse 3D wire. Okay. Media remote. PlayStation. They have no limit. Look. Shh. 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 I already saw it. I already saw it. Look. Come on, Xbox. What you coming with? Come on. What you working with, Xbox? Come on. I'm not gonna buy you. But what you working with?
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, fulfill all your wishes.
Oh, I will? Okay.
But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. And then you would get more and more adventurous.
Okay, let me stop.
And you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream.
I give you that. You got hate.
And finally, you would dream.
I give you that.
Where you are now.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, yo.
Who designed this? Like, why? Why would you do X? Why? Series X. Okay. Power your dreams. Can we pause this real quick? Can we go back? Can we go back a little bit? Okay. What is that? Xbox. Microsoft.
Last week, Sony went all in with their PlayStation 5 reveal event, dropping a deluge of PS5 information rather than in more frequent, smaller drops as Microsoft has mostly successfully done so far. Sony certainly pulled off something huge. It has since become the most watched gaming stream in YouTube's history, erasing much of Microsoft's hard-earned momentum in one fell swoop. So the question for Team Xbox becomes, what now?
That's horrible. That's not even a good start. Man.
Winning the price battle would be a good start. The general consensus in the development community thus far seems to be that the Series X will have more overall power and run in higher resolutions at higher frame rates, while the PS5's custom SSD seems primed for faster loading times and asset streaming. Though that might suggest that the Xbox will be more expensive, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said that Microsoft will remain agile on pricing, implying that he has the backing of Microsoft executives to undercut Sony's prices regardless of Microsoft's costs in an effort to regain market share.
We're getting incredible
But how much the game
support
gonna
from
be?
Microsoft.
I mean, I don't care
Satya
if
Nadella, my boss,
PS5 is
CEO,
$1,000.
Eva,
I'm buying it,
CFO.
but I just want to know how much the
They're
Xbox
very,
is.
what our plans are. And we're going to make sure we stay agile on our pricing and that we have a good plan.
You can't go
going
expensive.
into launch.
A competitive price plus more overall power in the box would go a long way towards winning gamers back. At worst, it can't be a penny more than Sony's PS5 Digital Edition. In addition, Microsoft has great gamer-friendly services like Xbox Game Pass, Smart Delivery, and backwards compatibility.
I would say
Xbox
Game Pass is
needs
cheaper.
to shout that from the rooftops from here on out, starting at July's first-party Xbox Series X game showcase. Consumers should be reminded that they can play Halo Infinite and a bunch of other games without needing to buy anything else the day they bring their console home. But none of those services ultimately matter without great games, something to rival the masterpiece-level games that Sony has delivered time and again this generation, and Microsoft hasn't done since the Xbox 360 days.
That's what everybody's been talking about. Come on now, Microsoft.
Do you think we'll ever meet them?
Sony seems to have no issue with luring third-party developers to its platform with timed exclusivity deals for games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Deathloop. Given this, I would argue that there's more riding on that July showcase than there's ever been for another event in the entire history of Xbox. Microsoft now counts 15 studios in its first-party stable. That outnumbers Sony's roster, but delivering on the quality is the trickier part. Halo remains the biggest property Microsoft has, but its reputation has suffered since Microsoft parted ways with Bungie, most recently because of an extremely disappointing campaign in Halo 5. As such, here's what could happen at the July event to win back that lead in the console race. Halo Infinite needs to prove once and for all that 343 Industries can deliver the series' first 10 out of 10 level game since Halo 3, as the studio looks to reinvent Halo for arguably the first time ever. Ninja Theory's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which is the most Sony-like game we've seen from Xbox Game Studios so far. We need to see actual gameplay as impressive as that blindsiding reveal trailer was. The initiative is either creating a new IP or rebooting Perfect Dark, depending on who you talk to. It is time to find out which it is, and the answer has to be impressive. This is not the time for Phil Spencer to hold anything back. This is the fresh start that he and the Xbox team have been working so hard for over the past 6 years since he took over, and if he's serious about regaining the trust and enthusiasm of the core gamers that Microsoft enjoyed during the 360 era, he has to come out swinging with entirely new and amazing content. All that said, Sony still has an astronomical lead in market share. It's a lot tougher to get people to jump ship than it used to be. It's definitely possible for Microsoft to earn back some of the market share that they lost when it badly bungled its messaging and price in 2013. After all, great hardware and services play a part, obviously, but it has been and always will be about the games. Show us what you got, Microsoft.
Xbox 360 was 10 times better than PS3, and I bought a PS3. I didn't buy an Xbox 360. I actually played my friends one, and I enjoyed it. They had them going, but the PS4 came back. Like, oh my god.
So we've got obviously the PlayStation 5, which with this crazy white spire design, as I like to call it, and then we've got the Xbox Series X, which just generally is an Xbox. It's just a box.
That's my nephew.
The top and the bottom, so that's a really nice feature, and I wanted to kind of talk about which one of these looks the best in my opinion to start with, because that's the first thing you see when you see these two consoles. Now the PlayStation itself has that amazing kind of white design, which actually is going to be covering up a lot of the fans, which is really, really nice. So you won't actually see where the fans are, whereas on the Xbox they are exposed on the top and you can kind of see them. But the PlayStation itself, in my opinion, with the disc drive, doesn't look as good with the PlayStation without. So there's two versions of it, and for those wondering, yes, you can lie down the PlayStation. It doesn't have to be a straight up tower if you haven't got room for it.
Okay.
Because that is a general concern as well. When you buy a console, you need to know roughly how much room you've got in the area. Can you fit the console in the area, or are you going to have to put it on the floor or somewhere away from the actual TV that you're going to be playing the console on, or monitor? So that's something to consider. The Xbox definitely seems a little bit smaller, but it's more bulkier. So generally speaking, if I could pick between these two on looks, I actually prefer the PlayStation.
Yeah,
without
because you
the
can
disc
lay
drive,
that.
so the digital version.
You can lay it
But if
down
was
and
to
have it
pick
straight
between the
up.
two
You can't
with
do
the
that
disc
with the
drive, I would go
Xbox
with the
anymore, I
Xbox.
guess.
It's just a more kind of slick design. It looks a lot nicer. It really
looks
does
ni- it
kind of
looks
go
nicer,
quite
but
well.
it's like a-
Now, the really good
like
thing about the
this.
PlayStation, in my opinion, is the blue lighting. I love that design. Just imagine seeing that in the corner of your room or something. It kind of looks a bit like a PC, but it gives it that really unique design and unique
So
feel.
pretty.
Now, again, I am an Xbox player and have played an Xbox for a very long time, and I've also owned PlayStations. So my opinion on both of these consoles is just perfectly flat. So that's what I'm going to go through with the
That's
rest
why
of
I went to
stats
the
as we go
Xbox
through.
player, 'cause I
But let me
wanted
know
to
in the
see.
comments, guys, which one you prefer on looks only, PlayStation or Xbox. I'd like to know. Let's try and not cause a console war in the comments,
Oh, I'm
please,
gonna
because that's
do
not
it.
the aim
Look,
of
let's
this video.
have a
The aim is to
war.
educate you
Console
on which
war.
one you personally prefer. Now, some general topics I want to talk about is obviously the specs. There's actually some surprising stuff in the specifications, which gives each console its own advantage, and we're going to get into that more towards the end. The most obvious things when picking a next-gen console comes down to the actual games that are on the console, the looks of the console, the price of the console, and
I don't think the
obviously,
price really
do you
matters.
need
I
a
think
disc
if you
drive
like the
or
game
not? So we're going
console,
to address
that
them
don't
topics
matter.
really quickly, starting with the games on the console. So we have numerous exclusive titles coming to both the PlayStation, confirmed in the YouTube description to be a Windows 10 exclusive as well.
This
which
is
means
this
it
is
could
my
be
issue,
exclusive players.
and this is I'm not trying to say Xbox is horrible, but if you want somebody to play, you want somebody to buy your Xbox, buy your game console, don't give it all to Windows. It's actually an Xbox One and a Windows 10 exclusive. What is the prep? I already got a freaking computers already. I'm not going to spend another money on a game console when all the games is on Windows 10. It makes no sense to me. I have a gaming PC. I prefer using Windows 10. I'm not gonna buy. I already got 2 game consoles already. That is my issue right there. That's another thing to me. I feel like if they would stop making everything exclusive for Windows, I think this will make people like me buy an Xbox. But it doesn't, because all these games, I noticed that. I'm like, I can play these games on Windows 10. Like, people literally thought I had an Xbox. I'm like, nope. I'm playing all these games on Windows 10. Like, all these games are on Windows 10. And a lot of the Xbox gamers don't know that. I just wish that if they really trying to boost up Xbox, that's the problem right there. And nobody really talks about it. I wish people would bring that out.
So Xbox definitely need to bump up their ideas.
Yeah,
So,
they do.
What else do we have? Like I said, obviously the looks of the console is key. I gave you my opinion earlier on, saying that the PlayStation looks better without the disc drive, but if you had a disc drive, you'd get the Xbox side of stuff, and that leads on to obviously the disc drive topic. Is
So
that a
if you
major
don't know,
concern
I
for you?
think
Because the
okay.
price
So with the disc drive, okay, where did I read that at? I know in the future, like the DVDs and all these little, y'all notice the CDs. Nobody really buys CDs anymore. Well, in the future, I actually had to do an assignment on this in college. that stuff is gonna be the thing of the past. The little DVDs and all that other stuff. It's just gonna go straight to what we all have. We all have these apps that you can play movies. I have them. I know a lot of people have them. A lot of people have these computers. You can watch things on your computers, your cell phone, your tablets, your computer, your television with apps. That's basically what they're trying to do. So I think this COVID-19 probably might push that a little bit quicker. That's why if you saw, a lot of people are confused by that. I prefer to get the one without the disc, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't buy a lot of disc games anymore. I really don't. It's a waste of time.
Also involved with that. Generally speaking, guys, for those that don't already know, if you have a disc version of the game, it's a lot cheaper than the digital version. And again, you can game share on Xbox. I'm not too sure about PlayStation. I don't know if that's an actual thing, which could technically cut the price of the game down by half.
It's not a thing with Nintendo Switch.
So it's an interesting topic there. When the
PS5.
Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 were announced, I know a lot of people were talking about disc usage, and everyone was complaining about the Xbox One kind of removing the disc and not having that sort of vibe going. And there was a lot of controversy around it. I can't remember the exact story, but it really hit Xbox hard. Quick side note regarding that controversy we saw, this clearly hit Xbox really hard, because you can clearly see overall PlayStation 4 outsold Xbox by miles, and same with Nintendo Switch. Does that mean more people are going to move over?
So let me tell you what happened with Nintendo Switch. I think once people, there's some issues. I want to talk about Nintendo Switch for a second. So I don't like the fact that with Nintendo Switch, I love their games. Their games are amazing. It's not the games. They don't have a good chat for their gamers. I don't think Nintendo Switch have a good chat for their gamers. You have to download it on your cell phone. You can't download it on your computer. You have to download a chat thing for your cell phone for Nintendo Switch. I thought that was horrible. It should have been on the game console. Nintendo, next time when y'all make a Nintendo game console, please put the chat inside of the game console. Don't put it on cell phone. Nobody likes using their cell phone at the same time playing their video game like that. No, we wanted everything on the game console. Another thing too is they started charging people money. They're forcing you to buy their membership. If you don't buy their membership, you can't play games online. If you notice, I don't even push that. The playing multiplayer games on Switch, because that's ridiculous. You shouldn't you can play PS4 and I think you can play Xbox without the membership online. So I thought that was horrible. And Switch still did better than Xbox One. I do like how you can carry Switch around. I do like that. I do like the little small controllers. You can slip it in and go, or you can buy a wireless one. I do like that. But the chat and the forcing the people to buy membership, Switch, Nintendo, yeah, you need to work on that. I didn't know too much about the Xbox, but I did notice that all the games are on Xbox. I mean, on Windows 10. And I feel like that really did hurt Xbox. I really do think so. Because everybody has a computer, so all this crap is going to Windows 10. So, yeah,
The Xbox has slightly better specs than the PlayStation, which we'll get into in a minute. Does it or does it not? I'll explain it in a second. I generally don't think people will be switching. Most PlayStation 4 users will probably stay with the PlayStation 5.
I will.
We've obviously got the controller to talk about as well. We'll get into that. But the last topic I want to mention before we get into the specs is obviously the price of the console. So the estimated price currently is $500 for both of these consoles.
It's $500.
Generally speaking, from the specs, which we're going to get into,
not $800, people. I already look it up. Go look it up.
It's
$500.
More expensive from what
it's not $800 for no PS5. Stop telling people that.
Reduce the price to try and beat PlayStation? I don't think they would, which means you would have to pick between these two, obviously, in the shop. Now, there's also rumors for a smaller version of the Xbox Series X, being the Xbox Series S. Here's a picture of that for those wondering. That would definitely be cheaper, and that would definitely undercut PlayStation and allow for a little bit more extra sales right there, because the specification in that isn't confirmed. It's not confirmed at all, but it's rumored, and if that was real, the specs would be a lot lower. But
I'm not a spec person either. I can care less.
to 7 hours researching this video,
I
and
don't
it's
really
quite
care.
obvious that the Xbox does have the
They
advantage
do.
overall with the specification. Now, generally speaking, the only reason it has the advantage is because it's got a more powerful GPU.
It
Now,
should,
to explain this a little
because
bit
it's
further,
Microsoft
basically
making
the
it. It
difference
should.
between these is generally when there's more workload, the Xbox is going to be able to cope a little bit better than the PlayStation 5 because it's got a 3.8 gigahertz
It's the
difference in
games,
performance right
it's
there.
the more thing I
unnoticeable
look
though
at.
because the GPU will kind of counter
That's
that,
what I look
and
at
it will
the
be
most.
almost so
Because
hard to
I
notice.
don't
It
care
would
about
have to
that.
be
You
an
got too much
extreme
dang on
workload
technology
on
to
the
make your stuff
console
look
and
good. So
almost
I'm not even worried
impossible
about that.
for anybody to notice. But there will be people testing, and it does
He
come
already
down to
said
how the
he
developers
inspect
develop their
people.
game as well. Then also a little noticeable thing as well, which will kind of make the PS5 a little bit better on the CPU side of stuff, is Xbox have confirmed most of their new games coming to the Xbox Series X are also coming out on the current Xbox One X, which would mean that their specs for the CPU will be a little bit lower because they're kind of cross-platform games, whereas
What?
the PlayStation 5 exclusives are solely for the PlayStation 5, and they would be taking their maximum capacity for that CPU, meaning they would have a better performance overall. So
I
that's
didn't
just
know
because they're
that.
newer titles built for that. But the thing is when it comes down to this SSD side.
See right here, this is the part that this is the spec part that hurts PlayStation right here, and I'm a PlayStation person. This is what I hate. PlayStation is like iPhone. It's just like Apple. And a lot of people don't understand that. What they do is they have different sets of systems, and you gotta pay more. Like right now, I think I have a 500 gigahertz. Is that how it goes? 500 gigabytes? Yeah, I think it's 500 gigabytes. 500 gigabytes. I might be saying it wrong. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong. But you know how me I am with words. You have to buy a more expensive PS4 to get more, internal storage and more memory. I hate that. That's not Apple. Apple does the same thing with their cell phones. I don't know if they do that with their computers. I'm not quite sure. But I know they do that with the iPhones. This is why I do not like that. Because I feel like they're trying to squeeze more money out of you. And I don't like that. Like, me personally, I'm not going to spend more money. I'll just keep putting the shit in the damn cloud for all I care and switch the games out. That's what I've been doing with this. And I do have something to connect onto my PS4. It's like another storage. I do have that in my house. I just don't know where to put it at, but I can put it on my PS4. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do with PS5. I'm not gonna sit here and spend money on no memory and internal storage. I'm not doing that. I'm not. Like, no. They
That is
tripping.
stuff.
I'll
So you
pick
can
the
see
games. It don't
PlayStation's
matter.
SSD is slightly lower than the Xbox on storage for your console, but what's really interesting about this is the speeds. Look at the PlayStation speeds. They are so much faster than the
See?
Xbox speeds right there. They're coming in at
That's really
5.5
fast.
raw
That's really
and
fast.
8 to 9 compressed, whereas the Xbox comes in at 2.4 and
Wow.
4.8 compressed. This means that PlayStation could actually render in load times and assets, etc., a lot more faster. It includes loading screens. That common clip we're seeing with people changing between games on Xbox being about 4 seconds instantly from one game to another. We could potentially see it even faster on the PlayStation side. That's maybe why GTA 5 was used on their launch trailer on their live side of stuff, because even the render times or the load times on that could be extremely faster than they are on the Xbox side of stuff. So that's a very interesting point there, and it kind of gives PlayStation the advantage on that side. So you've got potentially better processing speeds on the Xbox One X, but faster load times on the PlayStation 5. Obviously, better processing speeds could mean potential better frame rates, etc. But on the PlayStation, then faster render speeds could generally mean you could load into the game faster. So it's going to be almost interesting. Also, it generally looks like the Xbox itself is going to be more suitable for the current 9th gen resolution
I
standard.
said that,
This is due
but
to its split on memory, because
is
obviously
it
that's
worth
going
it?
to help
The
on that side of
games.
stuff. This is obviously
The
with
part
the
that
split
I'm
on
concerned
the
about
16
is
gigs
the
of
games. Like,
DDR6,
the
as I
games,
mentioned
the games, the
earlier. So
games.
some interesting points to look at right there,
And
but just generally thinking,
PlayStation's
this
already
side kind of
winning
stuff,
in the
the
exclusive
PlayStation
games.
definitely looks more future-proof than
It
the Xbox,
does.
just because of them faster hard drive
So
speeds with the render
good.
times, etc.
Look, I was
And
ready
you are able to actually
to cut
add
my
in
arm
extra
off, my leg
slots
off. I was like,
for
look, I'm getting
the
this PlayStation
NVMe
5.
SSD
Like,
slots. They are 100%
I'm
going to
getting
be
it.
really expensive
It's
compared
not
to
if,
the
ands, or
Xbox
buts about
expansion
it.
card, because the technology used in these SSDs, which are on the PlayStation side, is a little bit more advanced than the Xbox side. That's why you're getting them faster load speeds, etc. But generally speaking, it all comes down to developers. For example, look at Epic Games showing off their Unreal Engine 5. They've been showing that off recently, and it looks amazing, and that's on the PlayStation side. Generally, we are not going to be able to tell the difference between these two
I'm gonna
consoles.
say this
It's
again,
going to be very, very
guys.
difficult, and
You can play PS1, PS4 games. This games on the PS5. Let me say that again. And I'm gonna have to get to this because I just realized I have a whole tons of PS3 games. Tons. I got PS4 games. Tons of PS1. So I'm loving the PS5 already because of that.
it really will come down to
So
how
I
developers
think I'm
work
gonna
their
have to get
game and
this.
work their code around each game. PlayStation does have the advantage here because of the brand new haptic
That's
feedback,
sad.
which is giving
He's
brand new
he's an
vibrations
Xbox
on the
gamer.
controller for different surfaces. For example, if you're driving a car
Xbox
with some
gamer.
rubble, the vibration may change entirely, much more
He's
than the
really
standard
talking a
vibration
whole
you currently
lot.
get. Adaptive triggers will also give different tensions. For if you're firing a bow, for example, it'll be a lot harder to pull the trigger back than if you were driving a car. Then also we have the motion sensors as well put into the control, which is really unique as well. This could potentially also be used for car games potentially, or just general motion with the control. We also have the pad in the center, which I assume will be touch screen again type thing, like it is on the PlayStation 4. I guess that will be the same on this controller. When it comes to the Xbox controller, I generally think that in general, it's more comfortable, in my opinion. I prefer holding the Xbox controller. I know it's kind of annoying because you've got the sticks are a little bit slanted. You've got the one on the right and the one on the left, but it definitely feels more comfortable. If I'm going to pick between them, I'm going to pick the Xbox controller. But I do want to try out the brand new features on the PlayStation controller. It definitely seems very interesting and could make people sway towards that if they want to kind of get a unique controller experience. Most people can use previous Xbox One controllers on the brand new Xbox Series X. So that's really interesting right there. Now, coming to my conclusion, I just want to thank everyone who's made it to this point in the video. If you have, comment down below at the end with a little smiley face. You can make it unique. But yeah.